Okay, hello everybody. This is another session where me and Flo are going to talk about different questions he had, very interesting questions, and then we're gonna do some coding together. Okay? So it's very early morning for Flo, and here's his
Yeah, I need
coffee.
some coffee.
Yeah. So let's discuss. Let's start with the
But
question.
what a better way to start your day with the Elbeck smile, the Elbeck smile. Like
Thank
it's
you very much.
perfect. So yes,
So
thanks.
here's a
Look at
question.
this. Look at this. Isn't it beautiful?
Hey, brother. So here you had a question in Discord, this Discord channel, and for the viewers,
Yeah.
I'm just sharing the screen. This is our Discord channel where we get to talk about a lot of things about the standard, and we'll discuss different projects in here. So if you haven't joined our Discord channel, please join, and the link in the server will be in the description. So here's a question. Is it a good idea to rebase the branch? I'd like to advance on issues, but Alec told me I should wait for pull requests to be merged before working on something else. So I have here something called draw.io. And okay, so we have some prototype that we can work on. Okay. So so this is our classical model of the standard architecture. So we have, I guess you can
I
see.
cannot see. Yeah, I can see Draw.io.
Oh, let me share.
So
I can.
I can explain really quickly what happened to me, and
Go for it.
so I started to build the project in the empty repo. So I branched out from the main repo to do the infrastructure initialize API project issue. Then I made a pull request to let Hassan do the pull review with you. And I wanted to advance on the work, so I wanted to try building the project in the cloud in GitHub. If you're using GitHub Actions, you can add a file to let GitHub know how to build a virtual machine in the cloud and use .NET to build the project. And like that, you can see if the project has some building issues.
Yep.
Before merging.
Mhm.
And so I did that, but it wasn't able to build because I created the branch before I created the branch from the main branch, but the main branch was still empty because it wasn't uh, the pull request wasn't approved yet. So so it was normal that the build was failing because the branch was empty. Then I went back to the pull request because Hassan and you asked for some changes in you wanted me to refactor a bit the startup file. And so I done this work. Then you approved the refactoring, and Hassan merged my branch to the main branch. So the problem there was that I had still the empty. No, it didn't exactly work like that. Like I guess the thing that happened was it exactly like that? No, yeah, it was like that. So then I said to myself, okay, I have the main branch with the project initialized in, and I have a branch without anything in it, nothing, not there is no project in it. So I'd like to merge both. So can I pull the main branch and rebase it? Like meaning, like I guess this is now where you show the graphs and try to explain with Draw.io why what I was trying to do when I asked, do I
Yep.
have to rebase?
Okay. So that's a PR you were talking about. So you closed it without merging. So you asked whether in case, so this build is failing because this branch doesn't have what the master branch has.
Yeah, it was empty. So at this point, I had two choices. Either I was trying to merge it, rebase it with the changes, the last state of the main branch, or or I was deleting it and redoing all the work to merge it directly from the new main branch. So that's what I've done. That's why I closed this issue, because I decided to delete the branch, do a new branch from the last of the last state, the main with the pull request accepted. So I had a new branch right there, but this is where you can draw everything.
Yeah. So I'm looking at this file at PR, and I mentioned and I saw that you don't have the build project. So
Oh, really?
yeah, there's no build project. This is something. Tell me, how did you come up with this YAML file? Because YAML file is a specific language. So you have either two ways. You don't know and you copy paste everything from the internet, or you
Yeah.
learn you spend some time learning YAML language. So, or do you have any
Okay.
other options? Tell us about.
Okay. I already built GitHub Actions to deploy on the internet with a YAML file. So I had some experience, and I had already built one kind of, looking at the documentation and everything. But there, I didn't look too much. I just copy paste without thinking much about it, because I wanted just to follow what Hassan did in the Sophie project. So I went into the GitHub Actions. I clicked on the .NET starter boilerplate.
Okay.
And I've done some modification in it to be compliant to the .NET 7, because the boilerplate is building with .NET 5.
Okay.
And
Tell-
yeah, so I've done some modification, but I didn't work too much on it, because that's what I'm telling in the Discord message. I told Hassan, oh, I could fiddle around with the .NET YAML file to see where I'm at in the, okay, because there is another problem we didn't talk yet. It's that I deleted the branch, then I made a new branch from the last main branch, and I redone this, the folder. I done it manually this time. I created the folder and put the .NET YAML file and copy paste the thing in it. And I was careful with the folder structure to put the solution at the root of the project. And it wasn't able to build. And at this point, I knew that I could fix the problem if I was going through the YAML file, typing some commands to print out the information about the building, like where I'm at in the directories, and you know what I mean. And so I could have worked on this, but I wanted to wait for you. That's why in the text I'm saying this to Hassan. I'm saying, oh, I could do this, but I didn't, because I wanted to wait for Helbeck.
Yeah, so that's very interesting case. You know what? You know why? Because there's a special library that Ustaz has created in order to make this process easy for us. You know,
Okay.
going through documentation, learning a new foreign language, I mean YAML language, in order to do something like this can be handled by simply creating a library that generates YAML file for us, which
Okay.
which which in most cases, so YAML is very case sensitive. If you put another line here, this might be the reason why it's breaking. We don't know. So
Mhm.
it's very sensitive for it should be case sensitive as well. Case is YAML case sensitive.
Yeah, it's I guess it's does the indentation is really important too,
Yeah,
I
indentation.
guess.
Yeah, that's so YAML is case sensitive. You cannot write upper and lower cases. The files should have .yaml. Look, YAML as an extension, but what we have? YAML. So
Yeah.
let's see what YAML doesn't allow to use tabs while creating YAML files. Spaces are allowed instead. So you cannot type
Mhm.
tab, only you have spaces. And if you put more spaces than expected, your YAML file is garbage. You don't need that YAML because it doesn't work. So
Mhm.
in order to work with this smoothly, there is a.NET library, a.NET, let's say
Why is it called A.NET?
a.NET.
Yeah, why is it called like that?
I don't know.
You
So
don't know? You
a.NET
don't
is a
know?
that
Okay.
enables software engineers on .NET platform to develop Azure DevOps pipelines and GitHub Actions using C#.
I think it means Azure DevOps, ADO.NET.
Azure.
ADO for Azure DevOps.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah,
Can
you're
you
right.
see in the parentheses ADO.NET, just
ADO.NET.
yeah,
Yeah, that
Azure
might be the reason.
DevOps.NET.
Yeah, you're right. So here's a very beautiful documentation. So it serializes. So this is architecture of the entire solution. And here is a sample that you can copy paste. And here's what YAML file it is generated. And here's the result, real life example for Git actions. So here's sample code for you to copy paste. And we'll be doing this together today
Okay.
and some odd decisions. So here's a very beautiful documentation that you can read through. So this is in Hassan Habib's repository and it's a.NET project.
Okay.
And yeah, this is probably not the way we do our build infrastructure. So our build
Okay.
infrastructure will have its own project, which is console application. And every time we run that application using a.NET code, it generates YAML or it updates YAML file. That's
Yeah,
a
I
beauty.
understand.
Yeah, that's the beauty
Yeah,
of
it's way better than doing everything by hand. Yeah,
yeah.
it's just okay. Okay, that's fine. That's cool.
Yeah,
That's great, man.
the IDE will provide you with some hints and you can put a lot of tabs, spaces, it doesn't care. It creates what you want.
And can you customize
Yeah,
the library to, let's say, run off on a different operating system? To if I wanted to deploy on Ubuntu, could I put it in the configurations of the code? Okay.
absolutely. In a
Okay.
second, we'll see how it's done. So
Okay. Cool.
your so here at the root you have solution file, you have API project, and I was planning to do test project and build
Yeah.
project together today with you. Do you
Yeah.
like the
Let's do
plan?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good plan.
Okay.
It's perfect.
So let's start with test project, or Yeah, let me first do the build project, and then you are gonna go ahead and create the test project.
Okay. Okay.
These two projects will be totally two different PRs. So I'll be taking care of infra build project, this one.
Mm-hmm.
Can I assign to myself? Yep. Initialize build project.
Oh, okay. The big boy stuff is starting. I'm gonna make some coffee.
Okay.
I'm not far away. I'm just there. Don't worry.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, and I can put you on the screen. It's just that I'm okay. I can see everything.
Okay, let me answer the very interesting question you asked. So what should I do if my branch is behind main branch? So
Yeah.
you don't have to rebase. You can merge the changes.
Okay.
So yeah, if you are behind, just merge what is in master. So in order to do that, you go to your IDE, you check out to master, you pull all the changes, you go back to your,
I see.
that's the way I do. You go back to your own repository and you merge what is in master to your branch. That's
yeah.
And look, so let's say we have here.
Oh, could you explain what's the difference between pulling and fetching?
Yeah, fetching.
The branch.
Yeah, fetching means you check whether the upstream, what is in GitHub, has some changes. And if it does, it says 3 incoming or 4 incoming. So that's a way you know that something is changed in the GitHub. Pulling means you pull what is changed. You don't care. You don't check whether something has been updated or not.
Okay.
So that's what I understand. So we have student broker. There is a table. We have student foundation service, right? And we, in most cases, omit this foundation.
Maybe we should stay in the with refugee and not students.
Yeah,
because they are talking.
Okay.
I know it's the same thing, but like that we are talking about things that people are following from the project.
Yeah, so we have Refugee Foundation Service, and here we might have refugee. So the refugee processing service we might have for some reason. Okay.
Yeah.
So these.
So what's the difference between the processing service and the foundation service? Because someone asked me yesterday and I replied, oh, I think maybe if you need some normalization from the inputs, you do it in the refugee processing service before doing the actual logic in the foundation service, but I wasn't sure. So was I right or was I wrong?
You are totally right, but this is the last. So I as I understand, this is the last usage of processing service because you know. So processing service has its own use case. For example, you have add methods in your foundation service, right? Add refugee.
Yeah, to add a new refugee into the database.
Yep. And you have update refugee async, right?
To change his name or birth date if they were an error. So okay,
that's the thing. So our processing service should hold. So there is one rule. So your foundation service should talk to one broker. It shouldn't orchestrate between a number of brokers. Your processing service should talk to only one foundation service. It shouldn't orchestrate between a number of orchestration services.
Okay.
So your processing service will hold higher business logic.
Okay.
By that I mean.
So what do you mean?
For example, look.
Like standardizing the date time or something like that?
No. For example, look, we have add refugee and update refugee. So we create a new business logic. So the new business logic would be absurd refugee async. So that's the higher business logic that talks to two different methods within this foundation service.
Okay.
Or even it talks to three methods. First is it retrieves, it compares, and if it's changed,
I see.
And
so so this logic of comparing is in the upset method.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, I see. So in the upsert method, I'm able to ask the refugee foundation service a get function or something like that.
Yep.
Then I can compare the new input with the old input and see if I have to update, or if it doesn't exist, I do an add or something like that.
Yep, exactly.
And all of this is in the processing service.
Processing service. And if you want to orchestrate between a number of, so look, if we have shelter processing service.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need any absurd function, but we create a processing service as a pass-through because we are going to orchestrate this.
Yeah, and you want some how do you say, symmetry in the architecture. So you're building just a pass-through. Okay.
So this will be a pass-through. This is a case that you told us a little earlier. So here we have refugee shelter orchestration service. And this would be simply a pass-through.
Just pouring hot water. I'm just there. My coffee pot is just like a few meters away from my computer. So yeah, I'm back. Okay.
So we have shelter broker somehow, and we create. So that's just an example. That's not the real. It might not be the real case for our project, but I'm just saying that our shelter processing service might not have higher business or logic here. It might just be a pass-through because we want normalization or symmetry for our orchestration service. Our orchestration service cannot directly go and talk to foundation service. This is not beautiful.
Okay. Yeah. And I have a question because someone asked me yesterday. Let's say instead of refugee processing and shelter processing, maybe we have a host service and a shelter service. And so there is a relation between them, and maybe when you want to add to the database one or the other, you have to check on some things that are related in the database. And what do you do if there is a validation problem or an exception that occurs and you have to restart the process or redo the process? And like the guy was asking me how the other service would know to wait or to redo the logic, or you know, if the other branch of if the other service had a problem.
So
Like it was like, okay, let's say I'm adding a new shelter, and so it goes into the database, but then the host throws an exception, so we cannot complete the
transaction.
yeah. So what should I do there? Does the service talks to the database to delete the entry, or is there a logic to prevent the entry from happening, and where does it happen? Do we use a queue, or is it in the orchestration service that those things happen?
Yeah, that's very nice, and that's very clever question. This is something that Ustaz has been working on for some time now. The standard currently doesn't support transactional data, as you told. So the transactions in the standard architecture is the next big thing that we are waiting. Sorry, Ustaz, if you wanted to keep it secret, but here I am. I'm revealing all your secrets. So just wait for it, and we are working hard on this, and we hope that we reach this point where the standard application by itself supports, just as noise, try-catch noise cancellation mechanism. It supports, transactional data. So yeah, that's what we are trying to accomplish.
What do you mean by transactional data?
Yeah, you told, for example.
What it is exactly?
Yeah, you told, for example. Yeah, let's take an example of a bank account, right? So
yeah,
you are think about you are sending me money. So first, the money is deducted from your account, and then it is added to my account. These are two operations. As you told, you are first adding the shelter, and then you want to add a host, and that they should be
aware of each other, aware of what happened in the other service.
Yeah. So in transaction, if there is a problem in between, then the money deducted from your account will be put back. So it will be, it will be reverted to the previous case, and you want the same thing in your business logic. So that's a thing to in the future that's coming, and I'm hoping that will come out soon.
Okay, and so right now, what does happen if the processing of the host doesn't complete? What does happen to the shelter that is attached to him? Do we go back and call the database to delete the entry because the host doesn't exist? How does it work today?
So yeah, that would be a question to ask from Ustaz in the next stand-up.
Okay.
Let's keep it until then. And then I wanted to talk about the second very important question that you had. For example, let's say I am working on foundation service with someone, and you want to work on processing service with someone, right? So we need to implement a class that says implement these two methods using the interface. Am I right?
Yeah.
So interface doesn't take too much time. Within 2 minutes, you can create the interface, and you can just write the methods, method declarations in the interface that you need. So what you do, you create a new branch from master, and you say, I'm doing the refugee processing service, and there you can create your own interface that has these two methods, and you inject in your processing class, and you start implementing your processing class. You don't care about the implementation. The other team will create their own interface in their own branch, and they will be implementing their own class. So am I clear? So in this case,
I guess, and it does explain why the naming has to be really precise, because if you basically you know how they are going to name every method.
yeah.
No, isn't it like that? So you can build an interface
Mhm.
knowing what they are going to name them,
Yeah,
and so
you,
you can advance on your project without doing some changes when you want to merge.
yeah, for example, you are doing a refugee and you know that it will be as refugee async and update refugee async. So there is a consistency, as you told, in the naming that allows developers, even without talking to each other, create some instances and dummy interfaces and work on their implementation. So
Yeah, I understand.
yeah, and in the worst case, you can just go to the team that's working on this interface and ask, how did you call your interface? But that's you know, worst case scenario where you don't have a proper naming convention. That's
Okay. Yeah, I see. Everything is standardized in the standard.
Yeah.
And
that's the
I
beauty of
guess
dependency injection.
that's why, and that's why you're doing the pass-through too, the to have some symmetry, because like that you never have to guess yourself. Will it be with a pass-through or not? Will it be symmetric or not? I see.
So this is